Welcome to DadPerfect, a podcast for busy dads and our favorite heroes, the wives who stand with them. Dads who understand that investing in your family is the greatest investment you can ever make. Dads who are ready to dig deep and become the perfect dad for your family. To become DadPerfect. Hey everybody, welcome to the DadPerfect podcast. This is episode 2, Introduction to DadPerfect. I'm David Rasmussen, the host of the DadPerfect podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I want to especially welcome all of you who are listening for the first time. We also always want to extend a special thank you to the wives who may be joining us today. As fathers, we all know that we are nothing without you. You are our heroes. Before diving into the topic today, I want to share a brief story with you that illustrates why I am starting DadPerfect. A few years ago, my wife and I were on a double date with some new friends from her work, and we were all sitting on a shuttle bus heading to a play. The play was at Sundance Ski Resort in Utah. They do this during the summer, and it's a beautiful outdoor venue for a play. If you're ever interested in somewhere to go in the summer here, something to see. But we were on the shuttle, and this was, like I said, a few years ago, and my ideas for DadPerfect were just beginning to formulate in my mind. And my wife is always very eager to share what I'm doing, and she shared these ideas with our friends. And after a brief explanation of what I was kind of thinking about for DadPerfect and what I wanted to do, both the husband and wife said, we could use that. Right? And I've heard that a lot now since then. I've been sharing these ideas about DadPerfect. But the husband then proceeded to tell me about his relationship with his dad as he was growing up. And rather than go through the whole thing, I'll just summarize and say that it was a really bad relationship, very destructive. And then this husband told me that he was so traumatized by his relationship with his father that he had decided to never have children. He was so scared that he would end up being like his father that he felt it was better to never have children at all. And my heart just sank when I heard this. This was a man who was very smart. He was successful at his work. But when it came to being a father, he was terrified, mostly because he believed that he couldn't do it. In his mind, being a father was not something that he was capable of doing. Unfortunately, this father is not the only one who has shared his stories and fears like this with me. These fears about having children and feeling unprepared or incapable of being a good father. Now, I know every family is different. Every father has different talents, challenges, circumstances, and more that influence what I like to call their father experience. There is no such thing as the perfect dad. A definition of a dad that is perfect for everyone in every situation. I know this ideal does not exist, but I strongly believe that every father can be the perfect dad for their family, hence the name DadPerfect. But becoming this perfect dad for your family doesn't just happen. Just like becoming successful at work or in sports or in art or anything else, we have to work at it. We have to learn the principles and put them into practice and keep improving. Think for a moment how much time you've put into getting where you are professionally. You may be at the beginning, possibly still in school and trying to figure out what you want to do, or you may be well along in your professional career. Either way, and anywhere in between, it is safe to say that you are where you are because of the deliberate planning and effort that you put into this. You didn't get to where you are without work, and most likely lots of work. Being a father is the same. To be successful as a father requires work. It requires a plan. It requires building on those things that make you a better father and eliminating those things that don't. But how do you know what will make you the perfect father for your family? I think you would be surprised at how much you already know. We naturally learn from our experiences, learning what we like and what we don't like, how we want to be or don't want to be. I'm sure you could all sit down right now and make a list describing both the types of dad you want to be and the type of dad you don't want to be, which is actually a very helpful exercise, which I recommend doing, and we'll talk about later. But once you've identified these things you want to happen or not happen, how do you make them happen or not happen? How do you make your list become a reality? And are there things that should be on your list that you don't even know about yet? This is where DadPerfect comes in. I have developed DadPerfect to help you specifically do these 4 things. First, know who you are as a father. Second, know what your family needs you to be. Third, how to actually become the perfect father for your family. And 4, how to recognize when you're doing well. This 4th one, recognizing when you're doing well, is critical. There are not standardized metrics to indicate your success as a father. No spreadsheets or reports that can capture or report your success in a family, but recognizing success is still essential. We help you know how to recognize your success as a father. So, I think it's time to dive into DadPerfect and give you an overview of the 9 core principles of perfectly devoted dads. These principles are the guide, the success path, if you will, for becoming the perfect father for your family. So I think it's time to dive into DadPerfect and give you an overview of the 9 core principles of perfectly devoted dads. These principles are the guide, the success path, if you will, for becoming the perfect father for your family. Again, I want to reemphasize that there is no such thing as the perfect dad. I know that. That is not our goal here. Our goal is to help each of us as fathers to become the best fathers that we can be for our families. We will all continue to be imperfect and make mistakes. That's okay as long as we are learning and improving every single day. These principles are meant to do just that. Help us learn and improve as fathers each day. These 9 principles are divided into 3 what I call cores. Core number 1 is your Fatherhood Focus. Core number 2 is Fatherhood Foundation. And core number 3 is your Fatherhood Force. And I'll go into each of these in more detail. So let's start with the Fatherhood Focus core. We start the DadPerfect with the principles that each of us need to develop as individuals. We are focused on us as a person, how to help us become the type of dad that our families need us to be. Fathers today face a difficult battle. There are not a lot of positive messages in society about fathers. In so many ways, both indirect and direct, we are told that we are not needed. We are the source of all familial problems, or we're insensitive, we're self-absorbed, we're too hard-nosed. We are told that we must be strong, not show emotion because it's a sign of weakness, and many, many more things. These core principles in Fatherhood Focus help us to know who we are, who we need to become, and why. They help us to stand firmly against the myths and the false messages of fatherhood today. The image I have of this core is a lone but thriving cactus in the desert. Everything around that cactus says it should not thrive, yet it does. It stands tall and healthy in spite of the dearth of nutrients and water in its environment. Not only does it thrive, but it provides much needed shelter and nutrients and beauty for others in the desert. So the 3 principles that make up the Fatherhood Focus core are: first, know your reflection. Second, be intentional. And third, forgive freely. We're going to go into each of these in more detail. Know your reflection, because each of us has a reflection. Second, be intentional. You need to know who you are, who you want to be, and where you're going. And third is forgive freely. We have to learn to let go of those things that are holding us back, let go of the hurt and anything else that can hinder us from becoming who we need to become. That's a really important one. It's one of my favorite principles, actually, the forgive freely. Second, let's move on to the second core, which is the Fatherhood Foundation core. In this core, we will dive into the relationships that you have as a father. So Fatherhood Focus, that's you individually. Fatherhood Foundation is the relationships that you have as a father. And we will learn how building strong and loving relationships with your wife and your children establishes a firm foundation for your family. It creates a foundation that can withstand the storms of life. The image I have of this core is a lighthouse, built firmly on the rocks, standing resolutely in the storm, providing a beacon of light, a light that will always be there to guide, comfort, reassure, and sustain your family through your tough times and your good times. The 3 principles that make up the Fatherhood Foundation core are 1, be present, 2, light your love, and 3, communicate clearly. And again, we're going to go into detail on each of these and explain how each of these principles helps to build a strong fatherhood foundation that will be like a lighthouse for your family, for your children throughout their lives. The last fatherhood core is the Fatherhood Force core. In this core, we will explore the powerful force that is being a father. As a dad, you have the power to change lives. You have the power to influence, direct, and guide the lives of your family. This is an awesome power that must be used wisely and well. If I were to ask you to give an example of how your father has influenced your life, I'm sure there would be no shortage of answers, both good and bad. There are many in this world that have power. There are politicians, bosses, social influencers, the wealthy, and many more. However, when it comes to what matters most in life, I would argue that no one has more power or influence than fathers and mothers. Fathers, you are powerful. We have force. We need to know how to use it well, how to use it to empower our families to become the best that they can become. It's also important to point out that you do not have to be a forceful father to be a father with force. The image I have of this core, Fatherhood Force, is of a small but steady stream in the forest. This stream may not appear powerful or significant, but the water from that stream gives life to everything around it. The stream empowers all of the trees, the plant life, and animals around to live and grow to their greatest potential. That stream is not insignificant. It is powerful. So the 3 principles that make up the Fatherhood Force core are 1, love unconditionally, 2, live consistently, and 3, believe completely. I am very excited to share these principles with you. Each day I strive to implement them in my own life, and they are part of me and my efforts to be the best dad that I can be for my family. I know that they work. I would like to point out, and you may have already noticed this for those of you who are watching the video version of this podcast, that you can see the 3 pictures behind me that represent these 3 cores: cactus, the lighthouse, and the stream. I put these on my wall to remind me every single day of these cores in my life. I bought these photos. These were taken by an old friend of mine. His name is Shane Bezant. He's an amazing landscape photographer, as you can see. And you can see his work at Shane-Bezant, that's Bezzant, .pixels.com. Shane-Bezant.pixels.com. 100% of his sales go to help amputees through the 50 Legs Foundation. So this is something he does all because he cares. I recommend checking that out and looking at his amazing photos. It's very important to me that these principles, these 9 core principles, are shared with as many dads as will benefit from them. My first and most important motivation is to help dads be their best. I hope you will continue to listen and share this podcast with your family and friends. But if you want more than just this podcast, there is a way to get it. You can go to DadPerfect.com and sign up for Driven Dad's membership. With this membership, you'll have access to much more podcasts that go into greater depth, more practical tips and strategies for raising children, in maybe even in specific situations, more access to experts, and more interviews with dads and moms sharing their experiences and advice, and more and more. I want this to be helpful, not a burden. So the membership to sign up for that more information is only $4.97 a month. No contracts, no commitments, cancel at any time, and definitely no webinars. I don't like them and I don't want to do them. So I just want to be helpful and engaging. I want resources that will help your lives and to do them on a schedule and a budget that works for everybody. Dads, we all know that without our wives, we are nothing, right? So with each membership, you will receive 2 accounts. So husbands and wives can sign up together or gift the second membership to a brother or friend if you would like. So basically, it really only costs $2.48 per month per membership, which is pretty much nothing. But there are many who have told me I need to charge more for this content. Their reasoning is that it's worth more and that if you don't pay more, you won't value it or take it seriously. They may be right, I don't know, but let's prove them wrong. Share with your friends and family and spread the word. If you're not interested in the Driven Dads membership, no worries. Don't worry about it. Keep listening to this podcast for free. I still invite you to go to dadperfect.com and register to receive updates, offers, and more for free. Again, no commitments. I have so much to share. I am super excited to be doing this. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you and the journey to becoming Dad Perfect. Until next time, remember, you are the perfect dad for your family. You are Dad Perfect. This has been the Dad Perfect podcast. Thank you for listening. If you want more, you can get it. More resources, more tips and strategies, more dads and moms sharing experiences, and much more. Simply go to dadperfect.com and sign up. That's dadperfect.com to sign up for more. Until next time, remember, you are the perfect dad for your family. You are Dad Perfect.